You know, the best thing that you can do for yourself is focus on you. Don't look at others and compare yourself. Focus on you and what you are working through. A lot of the times we compare ourselves to what we think people have, who we think people are, without even realizing that your life and your journey is just as complex. And so instead of focusing on the other side, start to water what's on yours. Start to water the things that fill you. Start to become that person that you're proud of. Because I guarantee you a life of comparison will do nothing but continuously bring you down off of a basis that isn't even real. And so know that your life is just as great too. It doesn't look or sound like anyone else's, but it's good and it's great and it was made for you to work through. Have you ever been on social media and all of a sudden felt drained? Have you ever been scrolling and flipping and all of a sudden felt triggered? Like what Sally300 said on Twitter about dating and lifestyle was directly directed to you? Well, if you can relate to any of those scenarios, you are not alone. About 75% of people use social media, which is not very surprising, but what is surprising is that social media has been linked to affecting mental health by way of anxiety and depression. Although a lot of you watching this can probably relate to feelings of FOMO, fear of missing out, anxiety, the overall fear and worry of the future, or feelings of depression, an overall low mood, or feelings of unprovoked sadness, which I know I can definitely relate to and will be talking about my personal experiences later on in this video. It's important to know that social media is not all bad. There are ways that you can use it without trading off your mental health. And so in this video, we are going to be talking about how to use social media without letting it consume you. And so to start things off, there are 3 things that you need to know and understand about social media. The first thing being what it is, its function in your life, and how to navigate in the digital world. Having a general understanding that social media and the online world is separate from your individual identity is a great way to not get consumed and maintain your identity. Speaking of identity, I have a little something that I want to share with you guys. Lately, I've been introduced to this online shopping platform called Temu. Now, I'm sure many of you have heard of it before, but maybe didn't understand the ins and outs of how the platform works. Temu is an online marketplace that offers competitively priced products across multiple categories. Their products are not only affordable, but top quality, so you can enjoy the convenience and comforts of life. Now, you're probably wondering about the quality. While Temu does their best to ensure quality product and customer satisfaction, a little tip that I use for myself is checking the reviews before making a purchase. I like to ensure the quality of the product by reading and reviewing before I buy. Reading and reviewing the reviews. You guys get what I'm saying, right? The review section is filled with hundreds of helpful tips from previous customers like you and me. And so if I haven't already said it enough, Temu is the one-stop shop where you can find anything that you are looking for, which is so important because who doesn't love a one-stop shop? I know I definitely do, especially if you're like me who's a little late on the Christmas shopping. Any gift idea you have is probably on Temu. Now, if you're like me who's a little hesitant to shop online because of sharing personal and banking information, you'll be relieved to hear that Temu has established a vulnerability collection and response platform partnered with cybersecurity agency HackerOne. This agency works to fully protect the security of users, businesses, and products. It's basically a proactive way to ensure that your information stays safe. And if you ask me, I think it's great that Temu partnered up with a reputable cybersecurity firm because it enhances transparency, trust, and overall integrity of the platform, which makes the shopping experience so much more easeful for shoppers like you and me. Oh, and did I also mention that there is a Temu app, and so you can shop directly on the app or on Temu.com. What you see online is a fraction of reality. And so a way that you can interact on social media without letting it consume you is one, having this understanding and then acting in accordance with it. And so when it comes to you and your social platforms and the things that you post, know that your social media is not going to be an entire reflection of who you are as a person. Nothing can ever do that except your actual real life that happens in the actual real world, that is a reflection of who you are, and that is more valuable than the identity that you have online. And so if you are someone that still enjoys social media and sees the benefit of it, start to use social media as a tool. For me, that's where things started to shift, where I was like, I'm going to use social media as a tool to talk about the things that I am passionate about. And so my social media platform is now going to be about these things. It's not necessarily going to be about me, because that doesn't really fill me. And so find the thing that works for you and how you want to interact on social media. Don't just feed into what you think other people want to see, because that is where you get to the point where it consumes you, where you're doing things for likes, where you're doing things for attention, where you're doing things because you think it'll work or because you think it's trendy. Just be you and know that you, in your entirety, your being, your essence, is fully displayed in your real life, and that is the version of you that matters. Why this is so important is because, as we mentioned in the beginning of the video, there is a association and a link between social media consumption and mental health. If we consume a lot of social media and we're constantly on it, I'm sure you could probably relate to feeling drained and triggered or just uncomfortable, kind of negative emotions just from spending long hours or long time on social media. And so just off of your personal experience, right, and my personal experience as well, that an increased use of social media does relate to a decrease in mental health. And I think the way that this can kind of show up in a lot of our lives is through comparison. A lot of the times we compare ourselves to the lives that we see online. And so you might wake up on a regular Monday where you're going into your job or you're starting your day, and you are seeing a whole bunch of people that are maybe traveling the world or doing all these amazing and like uncommon things, not realizing that what you see people post is a fraction of their reality. It's a fraction of reality at large, but it's also a fraction of their reality. It's understanding that on social media, social identity is not who you are. And this goes both ways, because we have to understand that our social identity, who we perform to be, or maybe perform is not a good word, but who we present ourselves to be online, is not the entirety of who we are. And that goes for other people. Who we see online, the people that we kind of look up to, that we kind of idolize, who they are online is not the entirety of who they are as a person. You might see a fraction. The same thing goes for you watching this video. Whatever assumptions you have of me in my life, that is a fraction of my life. I have a very real life outside of the social media realm. I have a very real life outside of the things that I am passionate about. There is a side of me that I don't necessarily put on social media, and that is completely normal. Social media does not need to be a place where you just divulge your whole entire character. If that's something you want to do, by all means do it. But it's understanding that most of the times the people we see online, that is a fraction of who they are. And so it's just being aware of that so that we don't go down that rabbit hole of comparing who we are in our entirety to a fraction of who someone else is, a fraction of what we see about someone else. And with that fraction, a lot of us will make assumptions, right? We might see someone that is beautiful and gorgeous and lives this luxurious lifestyle and make these assumptions that they are happy, that they are wealthy, that they are all these things that you dream and aspire to be, not knowing that that may not be the reality. That may not be who they actually are. Maybe they aren't happy. I remember vividly there was this one situation that happened. Well, actually there was like two, but there was these two little situations that happened that made me realize that who you are online, how people perform and kind of present themselves online is very much so different from who they are in real life. And so when I was in I think I was like grade 6, I had just moved schools to this new school in this new area that my sister was already going to. My sister is 2 years older than me. And so she already kind of knew the people in the school. She had her friends, and we would also take the bus home. Like, we would commute on our own. And so there was these two other girls that would commute with us, and they were kind of, not to sound rude, but they were kind of like mean girls. They would always be kikiing, talking, kind of like behind our back and whispering in each other's ears when we were in a social circle where it's like, okay, we're all in here together. Like, if you have something to say, like, say it to the group type of thing. And so they were always a little bit catty, a little bit not very pleasant to be around. And I remember my sister was in their class and she would tell me all the tea. Like, you know, when you have an older sister and she just spills all the tea, like she does this and she's like this and blah, 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 blah. That's what my sister would do about these girls. So I was like, I already had a sort of image of who they were. And back in the day, we were all on Facebook was our Instagram. And so that's making me sound really old. I swear I'm not that old, but I don't remember what it was that one of the girls posted, but I was like, I know you wouldn't say that in real life. I know that is not you. And I just remember getting so irritated with this disconnect that I saw, where I was like, I know this girl in real life. I know what she's about. My sister has already gave me the download, and I've had my personal experience with this girl. And I'm now seeing something that's online, and I'm like, something's not adding up. And I think she had said something maybe about my sister or something that just irritated me. And we got into this like kerfuffle, this online kerfuffle, just going back and forth. Cause I was like, there is no way that you are going to be online just being this person that I know you're not. Like, I didn't understand that there was real life and that there was online life. And so we got into this whole kerfuffle. And I remember, and it was just like an online fight, like just going back and forth, yelling at each other through text, like all caps. And I remember the next day, we were on our way home because we would take the same bus route home. And she comes up to my sister and she's like, your sister is so crazy. Do you know that your sister is insane? And I was standing right beside my sister. I was like, I'm not insane. I am not insane. We're not going to get into it again, but I am not insane. And my sister was looking at me like, what happened? What went on? Right? And this whole story is just to say that there is a difference between who you are online and who you are in real life. Now, although I don't think that is a good thing, I don't think that there should be a huge gap between who you are online and who you are in real life, because I feel like that would cause some type of like psychological distress. But it's understanding that the things that you see online are not a reflection of reality. A lot of the times we can find ourselves in kind of niches or subgroups of things that are heightened. And so depending on what it is that you consume, like, I don't know, I consume a lot of like slime ASMR. Because of the things that I consume, because of what comes up in my algorithm, I could think that the only thing that matters in the world is slime, right? Because that is what I'm into and that's what comes up on my feed, right? Similarly, if you are constantly consuming a certain type of content about whatever it is, right? A certain group of people that have one opinion or whatever it is, you could get into that mind frame of like, this is reality. This is what is out there. This is life. Not realizing that your online identity and what you consume online is a fraction and a part of reality and a part of who you are. I wanted to share a little something that I read about social media and mental illness or mental health, and kind of just share that with you guys because I thought it was pretty interesting. Okay, so in today's world, many of us rely on social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, YouTube, and Instagram. I don't know who's using Facebook. Who's using Twitter these days? I don't really know. Snapchat, are we using Snapchat? I don't know. While each has its benefit, it's important to remember that social media can never be a replacement for real world human connection. I'm going to read that part again. While each has its benefits, it's important to remember that social media can never be a replacement for real-world human connection. It requires in-person contact with others to trigger the hormones that alleviate stress and make you feel happier, healthier, and more positive. And I think the hormone that they're talking about in this little blurb is dopamine, because as human beings, we release dopamine, which is that feel good, happy hormone when we have social interactions. Now, it doesn't matter if you're an extrovert or an introvert, like let's not even get into that whole thing, but having positive social interactions releases that happy feeling, that happy hormone. And it's important to know that the social aspect that comes with the virtual world or being online doesn't necessarily have that effect. Yes, there are some instances in social media where, you get a like on your post, or you get, a lot of views, or someone's complimenting you and you're getting these dopamine releases. What they're saying here is that is not the same as what would happen with an in-person connection. And I think that is kind of what triggers these mental health lows, because we're kind of shifting away from what our natural human desires are, or what our natural human rhythms are, and kind of entering into this new era of uncharted water, I guess you could say, where, we're not having these in-person connections as we did before. Ironically, for a technology that's designed to bring people closer together, spending too much time engaging with social media can actually make you feel lonely and isolated and exacerbate mental health problems such as anxiety and depression. So as human beings, we need that in-person connection to release those happy hormones. We need those in-person connections to work and build on our social skills so that we can be in social settings without having the fear of social interactions, without having that social anxiety. And so I'm just saying all of this to stress that although online and social media is amazing and it's a great tool, it's important to know that there is a reality separate from your online reality. Who you are online should never be your identity. And I think a lot of us really get into this kind of negative loop where we think that what we post about ourselves is us. For me, like back in the day, like everything I would post would be centered around me and what I look like. And I would, just take like cute pictures of myself. And I found that made me really unhappy, because in real life, I'm not the type of girl that likes to put on a lot of makeup and, doll herself up. Yeah, I like to do it every now and then, but that's not the thing that excites me. That's not the things that, I'm just not that girl in real life. Although that is a part of who I am, I felt like I was leaning more into what other people wanted to see from me. I would get a lot of likes when I posted, maybe like a cute picture, a little bit sexy. I would get a lot of likes when I was just posing really nice or just focusing on myself, right? And so sometimes if we're basing it off of the reaction that we get from people, we can kind of slip down a slippery path where we're just presenting ourselves on social media for the feedback that we're going to get, for the attention that we're going to get. Meanwhile, this thing that we're posting, this version of ourselves that we're kind of leaning into, is not really us. It's not really what pours into us. It's not really what makes us happy. And so it results in us feeling anxious. It results in us feeling depressed. And I'm the type of person that really does believe that anxiety and depression is a symptom of something bigger that's going on. It's really getting to the root of what it is that we're looking at to then deal with the symptoms of anxiety, the symptom of depression. Anyways, I think we talked on a lot of things. We could honestly go on and on and on when it comes to this topic, but I just want to close out with saying that your reality is not as bad as you think it is. I know you compare yourself to other people and the expectations that you have for yourself, or maybe that others have for you, but understand that you can turn anything around. And so if the reality you have right now is not something that you're proud of, you can start to change that. You can start to shift kind of the life that you have. You can start to plant seeds that will produce fruit that you are happy about. And that kind of sounds confusing, but basically what that means is you can start to build the life of your dreams, or start to build a life that you are happy with. Let's not even say the life of our dreams, because that can go kind of down a slippery slope where we're chasing things that aren't necessarily good for us. But you can start to be genuinely happy with your life. And it starts first with cutting off that comparison, because comparison, we know it. Comparison is the thief of joy. And so let's cut off that comparison and start to look at our life at face value. Let's start to be grateful for the things that we have and the things that we can turn into something more, right? And so I just hope that you guys remember that, and I hope that we can go into this new year with a more integrated reality with social media, where we're not totally consumed by it, and where our mental health is not a trade-off for social interaction, online social interaction. And so that is my wish, and I hope that these tips have been helpful. Definitely leave a like and comment your thoughts below, and make sure that you subscribe for future videos. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate you guys. And I will see you in another video. Peace. Peace, love, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.